So the tech tool I'm going to share with you is called ProProfs Flashcards. It is a free utility that has a lot of versatility in that you can make online flashcards, you can save them and access them pretty much from anywhere. Once it's linked to your account, you can choose your favorites and add to it. So you can make your own flashcards, but you can also look up and connect to other people's flashcards. There's a lot of different pieces and parts to this. This is strictly the free version that's there, but of course there is an upgrade version that once you do that, some of these things that are more grayed out would give you options to also participate in. I'm going to share with you just really quick how you would create the first flashcard, but then I'm going to go ahead and show you a set that's already been created that that will show some of the functionality that ProProfs has. The target audience that I have for this is adult learners in a workforce setting. Part of my responsibility as a workforce development, training and development specialist is to help our employees in preparing for their water license examinations. And what this utility enables is the ability for the learners to practice from existing cards, but then to build their own and to share with others. And because they can collaborate, that really helps with the workforce that we have that is a 24/7, 365 workforce. And sometimes employees never really see each other face to face, but they're all working on the same maybe level of exam. And this would allow them to collaborate and work rather asynchronously to do that studying. So if they were going to create a new set, you click create, you would give it a name. If you were working with children, you might want to put some parameters in there, but with adults, I don't know if I would necessarily prescribe that they have a description. But in order to create a deck, you have to have at least 5 cards. You are given some versatility. You can upload images to go with the cards. You're going to, of course, like any other flashcard set, you're going to have an A and a B. And you can add additional cards beyond the 5. And then once you're done, you're going to click done. And it will save that set of cards, which then you can share. I'm going to share with you really quickly a set of 88 cards that I did create to kind of jumpstart using ProProfs Flashcards. This is a water distribution exam prep, and one of the things that has changed with ProProfs that I really like is the fact that you can see over here to the right that there are some related flashcards that have been added to this. This is from other users that have picked up and used this deck of cards to help them in studying some way. And this is not necessarily users that were within my organization. It's somebody that has searched this, found the flashcards, used it. And now they're tagging on some additional cards that perhaps they used in their study that can be an additional resource for our users. I think there's a lot of benefit to that in that it gives the user more resources to study from. So in the course of viewing the flashcards, there's a couple different ways that the user can do that. And you can see they're given some additional options. Again, this is where I think that perhaps young users would not be this is not quite as user-friendly for maybe young users, but for certainly middle school, high school, and the adult learner, these options can provide some variety to it for studying. One of the things I really like about this tool is it does meet one of the standards that we talk about, and that is as when we look for resources, we should be advocating for equitable access to educational technology, digital content, and learning opportunities that meet diverse needs of all students. And one of the things I like about this is it does give an option for the audio. And if I click here, not only is it going to share the visual of it, but it's also going to say it for me. And that would so that interrupted her definition, but so that can really help the people that maybe that it's not just visual, they want to also hear it. I know sometimes when I'm memorizing something, that hearing it and seeing it can really be helpful. So that's one way for me to look at the card, and then you can see I can continue to move through my cards that way. Other options across the tabs are to be able to memorize it. And in this one, this is going to be kind of a trust situation. You're going to say, okay, nitrification, and then you remember that lovely definition that she gave. You're going to, give that definition. And if you got the answer right, when you see it, then you're going to say you got it right. If you didn't get it right, you're going to move it as got it wrong, and then you're going to continue on. So, and then you can see it gives a little progress checker across the front as it's working on those 88 cards. There's a quiz, and I think that gives another option to it where you're seeing, sometimes, you know, when you see it in isolation, oh yeah, I remembered it, but now we're mixing in some of the other definitions that are also in that card. So it adds another element of study to it, or difficulty in the study. There's a matching section. The matching section is not quite as user-friendly for this set of cards because the definitions are quite verbose. So what you can see is there's a lot of blocks on there that could be confusing or overwhelming to learners on it. For those that really appreciate the whole gamification side, there's even a game called Gravity, in which the user gets a question or gets the topic, there it is, sampling, and then whatever the answer is, and I'm not a water distribution expert, but whatever it is, you're going to type it in before it hits that bottom, and there's the correct answer. So if they don't get it, great. It's still going to give them that correct answer. If they did, well, there you go. Again, some topics are not going to work for each topic. There's no way I would ever remember to type all that in that short of amount of time. But for some of the shorter cues, that could be a great learning tool. And that is ProProfs Flashcards.